I think there's a lot of United fans that want to know a bit more about Elliot Anderson. Now, when Thomas Tuchel named his England squad for the international break, one name stood out. Not because it was unexpected, but because of how rapidly it had become an inevitable inclusion. And that name was Elliot Anderson, a player who has made the jump from under-21s to senior international seamlessly, starting matches, controlling them. And the numbers he's putting up in the Premier League are elite, leading every midfielder in the league in multiple metrics. Is Anderson on the way to being a top-tier player? And the all-important question, is he the midfielder that United should be prioritising over Baleba and Wharton? Let's scout Elliot Anderson. Now, as I said, Elliot Anderson, I think, is the name that most United fans want to know more about. Adam Wharton, we all know about the strengths and the weaknesses of him. And Carlos Baleba, we've already covered him. Check out that video. We'll be doing Adam Wharton after we've taken a look at Elliot Anderson. And this is because Elliot Anderson is a player whose stock has rapidly risen over this last year, and this video is going to tell you everything about what's gone on this season so far with him at Forest. Anderson has played under 3 managers this season for Forest, and that's generally not ideal for a young player's progress, but he's handled it fine. In fact, it's actually been really helpful for anyone scouting him. Under Nuno, he impressed in a compact counter-attacking system, a setup where he didn't have to cover massive spaces or dictate games of possession. But then Postecoglou arrived for that brief disastrous spell. And while the results were terrible, it actually provided some insight, because he was being asked to play in a possession-based system. Could he cover large spaces, dictate play, and break down a settled defensive unit? Despite the team failing, Anderson actually still did well. It was a first glimpse that he could operate at a higher level, maybe. That he wasn't just a counter-attacking midfielder, but someone who could control games. And now with Dyche taking over at Forest, he'll be asked to play a counter-attacking style again. So with that in mind, let's take a look at his performances for Forest, take a look at how he's played under those 3 different managers, and especially what he's developed a lot in terms of his own game this season at Forest. In an interview with The Telegraph before the season started, Anderson said that his biggest aim this season is to add some numbers to his performances. That will probably take me to the next level. So let's take a look at match day 1, Forest versus Brentford. Anderson wasted no time making good on his aim. Early in the game, he delivered a floated corner that resulted in a goal. Then in the 47th minute, he produced the assist of the opening weekend. A first-time 30-yard through ball along the floor, threaded perfectly into the path of Chris Wood. It was the kind of pass that makes you rewind the footage. The vision, the execution, the weight of it. He wasn't just impressive with the ball either. Anderson covered 11.3 kilometres in that game, the most of any Forest player, and 8.3 of those kilometres were at high intensity. That's nearly 75% of his total distance covered at high speed. Joe Cole, watching on as a pundit, summed that performance up perfectly. He said Anderson looked like a top player. His dynamism, ability to break the lines, and technical quality were all on show. So it really was a perfect start to the season for Anderson. And I think what's happened since then is you've just seen more and more impressive performances both for club and country, and we'll cover both. Over the next few weeks with Forest, he showed his quality and consistency. Against Palace, completed 91% of his 75 passes. 44 of those came in the opposition's half. That's almost 60% of his passing being positive and progressive. There was a defensive lapse for Palace's goal, but overall, his work rate and control stood out. Then came a 3-0 loss to West Ham. Despite Anderson's composure, the team's defensive issues limited the influence. A reminder that good individual performances can get swallowed up by collective failures. So at the start of the season for Forest, Anderson was showing real promise, and those performances caught the eye of Thomas Tuchel. And I think the stock for Elliot Anderson sort of went from there to there with those performances for England. It was England against Andorra. Yeah, I know it's Andorra, but it's his senior England debut. He started as the right-sided holding midfielder with Declan Rice next to him, with Rice preferring to take more of the box-to-box role, and Anderson therefore had a new challenge. Normally for Forest, he plays that Rice role, with Sangare sitting deeper, but now he had to be the anchor, and he handled it brilliantly. 107 out of 114 passes, a 94% success rate, 76 of those passes in the opposition half. 6 out of 7 long balls were completed, and it showed that he had that big switch in the arsenal when needed. After the match, Anderson was asked about his World Cup ambitions.
We know you want to go to the World Cup. Do you think you've given the manager a message, something to think about?
I think it's only one game, really. I think I'm focusing on the next game and then the game after that to try and make an impact. So, and then obviously all eyes are on the World Cup.
Couldn't have gone much better though, could it?
No, not really, yeah. Well, it could have if I scored, to be honest.
And Thomas Tuchel was effusive in his praise.
He has the physicality, he's a very mobile 6. He has the body, he loves to defend, he loves to put his body inside to win duels. He loves passing, he loves to break the lines, and he's just very mobile in his game.
That really was a statement debut for England, for Anderson. Those spots are kind of up for grabs for England, really. You've got Declan Rice, but who's going to be in midfield alongside him? You've got Adam Wharton in that conversation, Kobbie Mainoo, who was in that conversation but not playing enough, And now Anderson has forced his way into that conversation. And while Andorra was the debut, it was probably the next couple of games for England where really he earned more stripes. Serbia away was next, a tougher test on paper. Now England won 5-0, and Anderson was at the heart of everything. At 34 minutes, he picked up the ball with 4 Serbian players around him. He fizzed a clever pass into Rodgers, who backheeled it into Madueke for England's second goal. Defensively, he was immense. He didn't get dribble past, 8 recoveries, and 4 out of 5 ground duels won. The Guardian gave him an 8 out of 10 rating, saying he knitted together moves and offered balance, and looked like he belonged at that level. And his England teammate Dan Burn summed up what made Anderson so good.
His physicality for a player of his size, the way he can keep people away from the ball and get about the pitch is a big strength, but he's always wanting the ball wherever he is. He's so calm when he gets it, and I think he's got that eye for the passes that we'll probably need.
So after those performances for England, his stock had increased. He's coming back to Forest with serious momentum, but he's going to be playing under a different manager. How would it look under Postecoglou? Match day 4. Forest lose 3-0 to Arsenal, Postecoglou's first game in charge. Forest lost heavily, but Anderson's individual performance was interesting. Throughout the game, he showed a willingness to get on the ball and drive to make something happen. Positioning was versatile. He constantly had Odegaard on the back foot. And the numbers kind of tell the story of his composure. He completed 100% of the 37 passes he made in his own half. He didn't give the ball away once in his own half. Out of possession, he was dribble past twice and committed 2 fouls, but made 11 ball recoveries. And over the next few matches, a pattern emerged. Against Burnley at home, he controlled the game with 93% of his passes completed from 107. At Sunderland, in a frustrating 1-0 loss, he was one of Forest's brightest performers, with an 88% pass accuracy and 16 defensive contributions. Then against Newcastle, his former team, at home, completed 86% of his passes, made 8 recoveries, but he did get caught out for the penalty that decided the match. A careless challenge that cost Forest the game. So we've seen some development, we've seen some lapses. But let's go back to England, and again, 2 performances which really just rose his stock. Anderson was called up for England again. First they beat Wales 3-0, with Anderson playing a key role in midfield, completing 74 out of 77 passes. And then came Latvia away. And it was this performance that really, I think, caught everyone's attention. He had a standout game, controlled the midfield, and contributed significantly to England's 5-0 win. He completed 121 passes. 121. That was the most by an England player in any away game since 2008. He had 5 shots on goal, 11 recoveries. He was everywhere. And when you listen to Anderson speak, his calm, composed performance becomes a little bit less surprising.
Yes or no, were you surprised to get the call-up?
No. Last season I had a good campaign and things, so I was just pushing as hard as I can to get it, and I feel like I earned it.
That really is a phenomenal amount of passes. 121. He had the ball all the time for England. He was dictating the game. It was only, 3 games into his England career, and he's playing like he's already settled there. Give me the ball, I'll take control of it. So England is probably where I would say some of his best performances has come. But back at Forest, could he bring that momentum into the Premier League again? Back at Forest, the final 2 games of this period showed how many roles he's played in, really. Against Chelsea in a 3-0 defeat, his role was much more advanced, with Douglas Luiz and Sangaré next to him. He often found himself in wider, more advanced areas, achieved 84% pass accuracy, but he struggled with duelling against Gusto and Lavia. Then came another managerial change. Dyche's first game in charge came against Porto. Forest played in a 4-3-3 for the first time this season. And this was the Anderson show. 108 touches, and he ran the game. 12 passes in the final third, 5 passes into the box, 8 out of 10 successful long passes. He got a standing ovation when he was subbed off. The City ground was on its feet for a midfielder who completely dominated a European tie. Now, as I said at the start of the video, we were going to discuss his performances, which we have done there. But I also mentioned how impressive his stats are. Have a look at these. Let's talk about where Anderson ranks per 90 among Premier League midfielders who have played at least 5 full matches. Passes attempted, first. Passes completed, first. Progressive passes, first. Passes into the final third, first. Short passes attempted, first. Short passes completed, first. Touches, first. Recoveries, first. That's seriously impressive, and especially when you consider he's been playing in a bit of a nightmare of an environment. What's really impressive is it's not just 1 or 2 metrics. It's the volume of passing. It's progressive, first in winning loose balls, impressing in Europe, impressing in the Premier League, impressing for England. So what has Anderson proven himself to be this season? He's a high-volume passer who doesn't waste touches. He's a progressive passer who can break lines. He's a ball carrier who can drive his team forward. And he's a possession winner who contributes defensively. Kind of the definition of an all-round midfielder. Based on those numbers, he could slot in at United as either a number number 6 or number 8. But with just 1 assist this season, has he delivered on that promise about adding numbers? The goals themselves haven't come, but he's only 22, so there's growth to come as well. He clearly is not content with just being a controller. He wants to be a match winner, and that combo can only be a good thing.